right.
So, anyway, Zach's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my whole life. He's brought me a tremendous amount of joy. We were actually in prison together, and we're both in recovery from alcoholism and drug addiction. And we both worked very, very diligently in a very restricted environment to go further in our recovery and to find happiness in a place that is largely devoid of opportunities to be happy. And that's prison. And so Zach got out about a year before me, and I'll tell you, he was missed when he left, and mostly by me. Right? But Zach has come home. He actually moved from the valley, from southern Arizona up to northern Arizona to go a little bit further in his own personal development and his recovery from alcoholism and drug addiction. And so I just want him to talk to you guys a little bit about what that transition was like for him. I know a little bit about his story. I know that he's out here crushing it. And so, Zach, what was it like when you first got out?
It was crazy. I did 6 years. So 6 years of being separated. Nowadays, you could be gone for just a year. And the stuff that you miss, because technology and everything moves so fast, you just miss out on everything. But I was really surprised that it all came back to me really quick. I didn't have a smartphone when I got locked up, so getting out and getting a smartphone, like an iPhone. I had an iPhone 5 right when I got out, and I think they were on 7, but that iPhone 5 to me was dude, that thing was gold, man. And I picked up on it, really, really quick. But that was the best thing for me, was putting myself in an uncomfortable situation right out of the gate. I think when we're incarcerated, all we want is to just go back to something comfortable. We want that safety net of oh, I'm good because I know whatever's happening. I'm going home to mom's house. You know what I mean? Or I'm gonna flop down on mom's couch. It's gonna be all good. And I think that's one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that's what we need. When in reality, what we need to succeed is to be thrust out, have a good safety net, have a good support system, but still have that little bit of uncomfortability to where you're pushed, and to have people in your corner to push you to go further. And I'm fortunate that I had people like you and Jack, and even when I came out, a good support system out here. And that's really what it's all about. For me it was just these little successes that will lead to bigger successes.
Right. So when you came out, you had no job. You did have some support from your family. I know that your mom and your dad were in your corner.
Yes.
And you had a good sobriety network, a good sober support group ready to go for you, which kind of helped you keep the main thing, right? Which is the recovery thing.
Right. That was so I got released and I went to Paramount Recovery Services. And you helped me with that. So, and I remember telling you Bryan, why would I go to some recovery place? I have 3 years sober. Why would I go there? And man, and I tell people this all the time, and I always tell them, you told me this, is you said, listen, my track record in society was not good prior to going to prison, and now I'm gonna be thrust back into an environment where there's everything at my disposal, and man, that was the best decision I think that I ever made, or that was collectively made for me. That was the best thing, and I tell people that all the time. They're oh, you're up in up north, and yeah, it's the best decision I made.
Yeah.
Ever.
Good for you. So when you got to Prescott, when you came up here to Prescott, did you get a job up here right away? Because I know that you're in a job right now where you're just killing it.
Yeah.
What was your first job that you had?
My first job was washing dishes, man.
Okay.
Washing dishes at Terra Thai.
All right.
My roommate, whose name was Zach too, got me that job. And he was dude, I talked to my manager, they need someone to just wash dishes, and I was yeah, I was so fortunate to have a job. But I remember thinking is this all it's gonna be? With a criminal record, multiple felonies on my record.
In recovery.
Yeah. Still trying to figure it out. I mean, society's not engineered for people like us to succeed.
Especially people with short attention spans.
Yeah, people with short attention spans, and like they're just like, man. And I'm just like, all right, like I guess I need to be comfortable with doing this sort of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man, it was fun, dude. Mm-hmm. Like I went to work and I was just cleaning dishes, and I remember the guy telling me, he was like, "You're not gonna be here long," and I was like, "Why?" He's like, you do an exceptional job at washing dishes, and you'd be amazed how many people just can't get this right. So when I see someone that gets it, I know they're just going to go on to do something better.
Yeah. And you are. So you graduated Paramount. You fulfilled your commitment to Paramount.
Yeah.
And I know that in order for you to do that and to get a certificate, you had to check certain boxes, right? You had to work a 12-step recovery program of action,
yes.
Get a sponsor, work your steps, have a job, get a service commitment, be thinking about how can you pack into the stream of life versus what can you get from it, which is essentially what you did washing dishes with the level of humility required to actually enjoy it.
Yeah, right.
So you graduated. What was it like? So you went through the transition, you got out, it was baby steps like you said, you got the job, you got a good recovery job, you kept the main thing, then you graduate. What's that look like?
So I graduated, and I was really fortunate through the network of people that I met up here, and man, they just, you'd be surprised, like maybe sometimes when you don't see it, people see that, man. People see when you're just really excited. It's just really, really instilled my belief that there's something greater than me, because I came up here and I just kept taking the next right step and doing the next right thing, and everything just started falling into place. I met a guy. He was like, "Listen, I love you. I'd love to bring you on for a job." It was originally going to be like sales for this medical company, and one day a person quit in one department, and they were short-staffed, and they were just like, "How quickly do you think you could learn how to do medical referrals?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Just give me a computer." And I just never said no to anything, because it's knowledge, and I will never say no to learning. And that's just like everything just kind of started falling in place for me. So I graduated Paramount. I only washed dishes for like I think a month, and then I got this great job, and I'm just so fortunate. I remember like it was cool because I got to get office clothes, I get like slacks and dress shoes, and I stopped and I was like looking at myself in the mirror, and you'll probably hear me say this is like a recurring theme, because like this is truly what I believe. Is I looked at myself and I was like, dude, look at it, like I'm at a job where I get to dress up, like I should literally be a janitor. I went to prison the first time just for a year and a half, and I got out. My substance abuse issues went unaddressed. I had zero coping skills, so I basically just sat for a year and then came out to the same patterns of behavior. And like what did I need for me to feel comfortable was like to do the thing I knew how to do best, which was get high and numb those feelings.
Right.
And I mean, getting out and getting into a program and stuff are definitely where I can talk about that. And then like the group therapy 3 times a week was really
at Paramount.
At Paramount. Yeah, it was really beneficial.
So your previous times during incarceration, you did the same thing. The difference was this time you got around, because I know the situation, I know that you got around people that were interested in sobriety, other inmates like myself and Jack and some guys that we were in there together with, that we were all working together to help each other live a life of sobriety, right? And you and I mean, you'll attest to this. I know that we had a lot of fun in there together. We were able to find happiness in there, which allowed me to learn that it's not so much the environment that we're in that dictates whether we're happy or not. Of course, it plays a part in it. But if we can transcend our environment and find a level of happiness that you and I had while we were in prison, that goes to show the power of actually working a recovery program, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, the gifts that you have in your life, what I'd like to know a little bit about, Zach, is honestly, right? Like just keep it real. Be honest. You went through prison. You did the work while you were in prison. You transitioned. You already talked about that. You went through Paramount Recovery Services. You exhibited a pretty high level of humility and ability to do what it takes to get to where you are today. Honestly, what do you attribute to the success that you have in your life today?
My family, first and foremost, because
so support.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is like being able to just have, I couldn't imagine how hard it would be to get released with no family. For once in my life, I appreciated what my family was doing for me. I didn't like come at them as a place of entitlement.
Sure.
Of like, well, I'm your kid, you have to do this for me. I was like so grateful that after everything I've done to myself, to my family, that they were still willing to do something for me, because they were seeing something in me that I was failing at that moment to see in myself.
Okay. So like your message then to me, right, would be that if you don't have the support, go get it. Everybody does have the ability to get some level of support in an area that they need to go further, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so whether it's business or physical fitness or whatever, you just get in with the winners, right? Get in with the winners and kind of do what they do. So is that your message, is essentially go get the support that you need wherever you can, or what?
Yeah. If I didn't have, like, let's say I didn't have my family. Let's say I got out with nothing. That would have been my plan. Plan A is the family. Plan B is to like, all right, I don't have a family, so I'm gonna engineer my family, and I'm gonna make a family of people that support me. And I have that. I have a whole network of people who are like truly friends that are like, you can come stay here anytime, you can come do this. Me and my buddy always joke, like, people entrust us with, their business, and like they wouldn't, back in the day, like no one would entrust me with their car. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, that's how far I've come.
Right. Well, so you had that even before you left, just because of who you are. Like before you left prison, you had me willing to do anything and everything that I could do to be there for you, just because of who you are, the way that you are, the fact that you were always there for me, and people want to help other people that are there for other people, right? It's like, you want to root for that guy, you want to help that guy. You had Jack, you had a lot of people that would have really went to bat for you. So like, what were some of the changes that you made that allowed that to be possible? For you to have me in your life, and Jack, and some other people that you had in your life prior to your release, if you didn't have your family, what were some of the things that you did to end up with that level of support? I
mean, I kind of just stopped being a scumbag.
Right.
Yeah. I just stopped being a scumbag. I stopped, because I got high in prison for like the first 3 years. Every day, just got high, wanted to numb myself out, and was just, it's just a scumbag. Just paid money out every week, had nothing in my locker because I was just worried about getting high. And it's like, once I changed that and I started focusing on putting my energy into different avenues, was when I like really just kind of started, I don't know, man. I actually like came out of my shell and like started talking to people, and then, going to like NA meetings. Once you get sober and you're kind of like out, you feel free. It's like almost like your personality comes out more.
Right.
And, that's just kind of what happened. It's like that allowed my personality to come out even more. What I was putting out, the positiveness and like the right stuff, like attracted that to me.
Right.
So like you and Jack and everybody.
Yeah, and that's what I see. Honestly, that's what I see. I see that, I'm attracted to people that are genuine. Mm-hmm. And when we get into recovery, we can just kind of like let all those barriers down, let all of the facade just fall away, and we can be ourselves, we can be genuine, and we start to attract positive energies into our lives, right?
Yeah,
because I'm repelled. I can just tell when someone is trying too hard or really attached to that ego or that character. I don't get along well with them. I don't necessarily like beef with them or anything like that, but I kind of avoid those people.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm really attracted to you, is because you are, like, man, you just let it all out there. You come up with some just funny stuff on the cuff. I have this picture of Zach. So, and this is what I mean with his ability to see things, and his sense of humor is great. That says no public dumping allowed, and somebody put a toilet right in front of this dumpster because for whatever reason they didn't want to throw it in the dumpster. So Zach decided to go sit on the toilet right in front of the sign in front of the dumpster and act like he's reading a newspaper, taking a crap in this toilet, and it's in front of a sign that says no public dumping allowed. Pretty hysterical. So someone that's super attached to ego, man, they're not going to be able to do that kind of stuff. They're not going to see that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just thought that was really funny. So that's one of the things that really attracted me to you, was your ability to be genuine. And there are so many people in prison that are just not genuine, super fear-ridden, and things like that.
And the thing is, I don't know, that was like kind of my survival mechanism. Was you're already in a place that's just full of sadness, depression, and you know, like, so if there's like the guy there that you know you can go to and laugh and have like a good time with, and maybe for like the 5 minutes you're hanging out with them, he like is able to take you away or like out of that place just for a little bit, like mentally, you become like an asset in there.
Let's talk first about your job and ways in which you're going further with that, what you're in charge of, what your job looks like there, what your role is, and then we'll talk about the other stuff.
So basically I just run, I manage an in-house lab.
Okay.
And I kind of keep an eye on the clinic that the lab is in as well. So what that looks like on a day-to-day basis is...
A medical lab, right?
Yeah, medical lab. So like toxicology and hematology, blood and urine specimens for a family practice.
All right, great. And that's inside of a medical office?
Yeah, yeah, like it's inside of a clinic.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's, you know, just kind of managing the day-to-day operations, filling in when needed, working, running equipment, purchasing, inventory, everything that, you know, essentially it's a business would need. Because it's like a business within a business, so it still needs like the same level of things that like a larger business needs. So I have to take care of, you know, that, and I have a really good technician that works with me that makes my job easy because she's awesome. So that's, you know, that's what my day-to-day looks like. And then on the weekends, I do a lot of volunteer work with Gold Canyon Heart and Home. I actually work with them. I'm the director of co-creative partnerships, which means I work at bringing us together with like strategic partners. I try to help us get aligned with like the right people in the nonprofit sector and even out of the nonprofit sector. Just basically, I like to look for people that are doing things that I like, and I like to see like how we can both work together. Like from the nonprofit side, maybe they're a for-profit company, but we would like to work with them to do something, or even other Arizona nonprofits. I also do a lot of work with a Tucson-based nonprofit called American Friends Service Committee. They actually are in the process of working to get a bill passed right now, House Bill 2270, which is fair and proportionate sentencing laws for Arizona. Arizona is really archaic in their sentencing laws, where actually it's Arizona and Florida are the last two states where every inmate, male or female, regardless of the crime, serves 85% of their sentence, regardless if they change or regardless if they're putting in the effort to try to better themselves. You know, they're getting out on their 85%, just like the guy who's done nothing but, you know, shoot dope and just commit crimes while he's still in prison.
Right.
So basically what that bill is saying is, hey, listen, like if you have guys that are putting forth the effort through programming and classes, let them out early.
Sure.
They should be able to be incentivized. And I, you know, and that really hit home to me because like I know when things were just given to me as a kid, I really could care less about them, you know? But when I like got older and I like worked for stuff and I started like having the money to buy things and I earned it myself and I bought it myself, it was like more near and dear to me, and I ended up like cherishing these things more. So it's like maybe we wouldn't have such a high recidivism rate out here if like your release was something you worked for and earned. It wasn't just given to you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, those are all great points, and I happen to know a little bit about that as well. As far as California, they changed their truth in sentencing laws, and they've seen a major reduction in recidivism.
Yeah. Even
Empirically proven.
Yeah. Tough on crime Texas doesn't even do it. You know what I mean? They changed it a long time ago.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and the Gold Canyon Heart and Home, that's an amazing nonprofit. What's really cool about Gold Canyon Heart and Home is a lot of us that are involved, me a little bit more loosely than Zach, or a friend of ours named James Lauer, who's directly involved with doing a lot of the what's James' title again? It's he does like the event coordinator.
He's like the event coordinator. He's a volunteer. He does the event coordination, things like that, helping us partner with different sporting events out here, and just wherever we can help.
Right, yeah. And you guys there's a lot of involvement with people coming from Gold Canyon Heart and Home. There's a lot of involvement with re-entry, right? People reintegrating into society from being incarcerated.
There is, and what I like to do as far as within that nonprofit is, my thinking is, and going back to the support system. What if there was a guy like me that was putting forth the effort while incarcerated? He something clicked. He was getting it right, man, and he was really walking the walk and talking the talk. To me, like, that person should really be afforded every opportunity. That person shouldn't be limited for economic reasons or social reasons. Like, we're releasing these people that have no
with
place.
$50.
With $50, $50 to $100. That's it. And it's like, we're gonna send him to a halfway house, probably in a bad neighborhood, or a neighborhood like right where he came from, back to his own neighborhood, where that's probably not a good place to go, and this guy doesn't have anything. And that's what I like to do at Gold Canyon Heart and Home is, like, if you don't have a family and you don't have that support system, come here and we'll help you out. But you have to put forth the effort. This isn't like a place you get out to and you're like, man, where's my voucher? Where's this?
Right.
That's not how we work.
Well, because it's run by people that have been through prison,
that
know that if you want to be successful in life, in prison, in anywhere, in anything that you do, you gotta put in the freaking work.
You gotta put in the work.
You gotta put in the work.
Just like, Perrino. Like that, remember we would talk about, like, this isn't just a place to sleep.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's the whole idea behind Paramount.
Right.
Was a lot of aftercare, quote unquote, aftercare programs were nothing more than a bed and a curfew.
Yeah.
Whereas Paramount Recovery Services was based on the idea of, why don't we create an aftercare program that's not concerned with the bottom line, that puts all the profits back into not all the profits, but a majority of the profits back into the business to deliver a tremendous amount of care to the people engaged in an aftercare program.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the whole basis of the program to begin with.
And it works,
Yeah.
It's, what a concept, right? Let's just try to, it's not just like, and throw these people out. It's like, hey, and now you're going to kind of float down, a little bit more float down, a little more float down. Like, it's gradual, baby steps. Man.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we all need help, and especially those of us that are alcoholics and drug addicts. I used to hear all the time while I was in prison is like, oh, you don't belong here, right? I'm sure you've heard that frequently. Like, like, how did you, I used to hear this all the time, how did you end up in prison, right? Like, how did you get here? And I used to say, well, I'm an alcoholic. Like, when I drink, I act crazy. And I know that when I drink, I act crazy, but I still drink, which is crazy. So that's how I end up here, right? And so I'm not exempt. I needed to be helped along the way in my early recovery. I had to be shown how to put recovery first. Because I used to always think, like, oh, if I just get the nice car or the nice place to live, or a fat bank account or a pretty girlfriend or all these other things that aren't what causes sobriety, they are consequences of sobriety, right? I used to think like those things will help me be sober, but what's funny is those are the things that happen after we live a life of recovery without me seeking them, right?
Yeah.
But I had to have someone show me that, because I used to think, like, I used to see quote unquote normal people become successful, and I used to see what they did. Well, they just simply went to school, worked out, made some pretty good choices. Whereas for me, it's like when I just focused on just those things, I didn't get it because I would always end up going to the bar, getting drunk, or trying to have a good time and doing something ridiculously stupid while drunk, right? So I had to be shown like, hey, forget about all that other stuff. In the beginning, forget about all that stuff. It doesn't matter what we think or how we feel. In the beginning, that's all garbage that's trying to kill us. I had to be shown that what matters is what we do, and what we need to be doing right now in the beginning is focusing on our recovery. And I had to be shown how to do that. And once I was shown that and walked through that process, it was like all the things I used to strive to get just ended up in my life.
Right.
They just showed up in my life. And so like even while I was in prison, I focused on my recovery. I thought about what could, and you can attest to this, I would go to meetings, I would help other guys, I would do what I could to be a service. I participated in the nonprofit while in prison as a peer educator. I dedicated a lot of my time to helping other people, and through that process, my life continued to get better and better and better. And I walked out of prison into a life that's amazing. You know, I have great people in my life today, like yourself. You know, I'm just, one of the things that I'm the most grateful for is the people in my life. Like you talked about your family, I can really relate to that. But my point is I agree with you, is like we have to be shown this stuff in the beginning. And so I really like that that's what really attracts you to Gold Canyon Heart and Home and your position there.
You know, just being there, just trying to make, you know, we're not trying to change the world, we're just trying to make it a little bit better for certain demographics. And, you know, right now we're sponsoring Mike Fagan. He's 71 years old. He's going to be hiking the Triple Crown, which is the 3 hiking trails that traverse the continental United States. There's a really small amount of people who have done it within a calendar year. I don't have the exact numbers. You would have to talk to Joseph Chipetta. And this guy's 71 years old, and he's going to do it. So he's literally breaking age. He's disrupting the age model of thinking like, oh, that person's 71, they're old, they can't do it. This guy's going to do it. And like AARP is super into it, and yeah, man, so that's gonna be awesome just to see this guy. Like, talk about taking it further. Like, yo, a 71-year-old hiking across like the whole United States in 1 calendar year, like that's taking it super further.
Yeah, wow. And GCH, Gold Canyon Heart and Home, aren't they partnered in some way with AARP now, with AARP?
Yeah, so we've aligned with AARP. We're gonna be doing a lot of work with them. We do a lot of work with helping out American Friends Service Committee based out of Tucson, and they're multinational, but it's just they have a Tucson office. Yeah, so that's kind of like we're partnering with AARP to help sponsor Mike on his hike, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We're also working with a company called Southwestern Connections, and I'm a part of that company as well, and we're building container houses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so houses out of shipping containers. And we have a build coming up in Tempe, Arizona, an apartment complex, and hopefully that will start giving us some revenue through the nonprofit. We'd really like to maybe do like a container halfway house built on farming where these guys, it's like real communal, or
sign me up.
Yeah, right?
What are you going to grow? What kind of stuff would you guys grow there?
You know, I don't know, just, it's not really...
Not weed.
No weed. Maybe hemp, strictly for paper. Yeah, but it would just be, you know, you'd probably have like 1 or 2 main cash crops, something that would bring income into the house, and then we could in turn like pay the people who farm, like the guys who farm. But then, you know, there would also be anything that they wanted to do. So they would have like their main cash crop, but then they would also be able to get to choose like a few things that they're super into, like flowers, or maybe things like that don't really sell, but like something that they're into.
Yeah.
Just to keep
well, that's amazing. So here you are, right? You couldn't figure out how to stay sober for half a day, right?
God, half a day, that's a long time.
It's a long time. You were in and out of prison, getting high while you were in prison. People did not trust you to even borrow their car. And let me just try to do a quick recap now. You run a medical office that I'm pretty sure you have the keys to. Isn't it more than one office?
Yeah.
Okay, more than one medical office. You are involved in Gold Canyon Heart and Home, prison reform, Southwestern Connection. You are really engaged in going further. So literally a guy that by all rights should have been written off and probably was written off by a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Are here playing a major role in my life. You're someone that I consider a best friend, and I love spending time with you. And I mean that, man. And you're just great. I love spending time with you, and you're really crushing it. I just want to say that I'm really proud of you. We're gonna start wrapping up right now. So, is there anybody that you want to give a special shout out to? You mentioned Joe Chapetta.
Yeah, man. I'd like to give a shout out to Joe Watson at American Friends Service Committee. I was also incarcerated with him, and he's gotten out. And like he's putting on for everybody that's still locked up. Like he's out there really trying to make it better for people that are incarcerated and working towards just ending mass incarceration. So I just want to shout out Joe Watson. I want to shout out all my Gold Canyon Heart and Home members, James Lauer, who you mentioned, Joseph Chapetta, my big bro Najee, and Robert Pruitt, and Kyle Harless. He's working with us too. He's an awesome guy. And I also, just want to give a shout out to, my family and let them know, like, hey, thank you guys. Thank you for sticking by me because, I know I've put in the work, but you guys have definitely made it easy for me to put in work. So thank you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for visiting. Hopefully this brought you some value. Again, this is Zach Perrino. He is a member of Gold Canyon Heart and Home. Check it out. You could also check out their website at FromHereToTheStreets.org, where there are a tremendous amount of resources and assets. So if you know anybody that's incarcerated, coming home soon, or if you yourself just want to learn a little bit more about credit repair or different things like that most people should be educated on, go ahead and check that out. FromHereToTheStreets.org. And again, Gold Canyon Heart and Home. You guys are doing a great thing.